Hey guys, what's up and welcome to a new Tesla update video. So as usual today, let's just jump right into it. Let's talk about the market, see what happened, what's going to happen in the future, what we can expect to see for the rest of the week. And yeah, as usual, if you guys enjoy the videos, don't forget to please hit that like button. It does help quite a bit and it is very much appreciated. So let's just jump right into it. So Tesla ending the day pretty much up 5%, 4.8%, pretty close to 5% at $952.90, which is fantastic. Now, just a beautiful day overall, just a fantastic day. So far, the market, I mean, we've been pretty much nailing like every single call this week, like pretty much to a T. Like every single call this week has been pretty much nailed. Exactly, like almost exactly, I would even say. Like we've been pretty accurate, let's just say that. And yeah, so that's essentially, that's a good sign, obviously. I mean, I'm very happy with that. But let's talk about what we can expect to see happening the next day, right? So I pretty much still stand by the overall consensus that I've had, where I pretty much said how I strongly believe Tesla will probably see 970. That's my current price target right now. Maybe it'll go a bit higher. Again, realistic best case scenario, in my opinion, is 1,000. I don't think we'll see 1,000. But it's still like a realistic best case scenario, in my opinion, which, you know, it can maybe even like all the way up here, which actually this is 1,000. Yeah, this would literally be 1,000. Yeah, so it's definitely possible that we see 1,000 maybe next week, but that will be next week. I highly doubt that'll be this week. It could, but I don't think it will be. If we ever see 1,000, I think it'll be next week. But again, with that being said, my personal price target, because I'm trying to be safe about it, I'm not trying to be super greedy, super cocky, just, you know, my personal, like, very realistic, safe, comfortable, if you will, price target, 970 roughly, low 970s. And yeah, I mean, this week so far has been very profitable for me. I'm extremely happy. And if we do get to 970s, and essentially if we end above 960 by this Friday, because I sold the 960 call today, pretty much on this run up today, like right around here, pretty much when we were at like 942, I sold it. I don't think we'd go much higher yet. I actually thought the 940s will give us a bit more resistance. It didn't. But yeah, so I pretty much sold the 960 call. Break even is 970. So essentially anything above 970, I lose profit. Like I don't make as much profit as I could have if I just held. But I'm very okay with that because I've made plenty of money already this week just through other means of, you know, selling and puts and calls. I've been scalping up and down. This market has been fairly volatile this week. So it's been a fantastic week for me. Like very, very happy with this week so far. And especially if Tesla ends at above 960, it's going to be just, because then that premium I get to keep, the shares that I still have are going to sell. It's just going to be fantastic. Anyway, that's not the point. The point is the fact that I still believe Tesla will at some point, probably this week, touch 970 at this rate. I wouldn't be surprised. And yeah, that's essentially what I'm seeing, guys. So like I said earlier, where is the volume profile? Here it is. So remember how I was talking about the other day where I said how as long as we break above this kind of like 945-ish level, maybe 950 level, as long as we break above that, it should be fairly smooth sailing up to 970. Well, we essentially did that today. You can see we ended at 952, right in the middle, or not the middle, but like near the bottom part of this kind of, you know, lower volume area, this little lower volume channel over here. Which is good, which is really, really good. That's essentially, that's quite bullish in my opinion. I actually think that's extremely good. So I still stand by the fact that I do believe that we should have like fairly easy ride up to 970. Now the question is will we see any small little back step or like trace downwards or whatever before we move up to 970? There is a chance we get a little bit of a pullback before we go up to 970, but I don't think it'll be a big one. I think worst case scenario, okay, the realistic worst case, I would say would be like 930, 935, something like that we might drop to before we bounce up to 940 or 970. That's like the realistic, like, you know, no, okay, maybe not worst case, but like bad case, if you will. The realistic worst case, I would say, is a drawback down to like 920 to 915. I really would be surprised if we go any lower than like 915 because, or like 910 to 920, anywhere in that range is the realistic worst case retrace. I don't think it'll happen, but if it does, as long as we're essentially, to make it simple, as long as we're above 900, I think we're fine. And yeah, that's essentially what I would be looking at in that specific scenario. But regardless of what happens, I'm still extremely confident that we will most likely see a push up to 970. Very, very confident about that. I really do think that'll happen. And I do think that, you know, 970, 975, somewhere in that range is where we're going to probably start seeing some resistance and some selling pressure once again, and that's essentially what I'm expecting. And then we might consolidate somewhere between this like 970 to 960 region for like a few days, maybe for the rest of the week. So for instance, if we push it to tomorrow and we get rejected, then tomorrow, Friday, we might see a consolidation around that 950 to 970 area, something like that, give or take, probably like 960 to 970. And that's essentially, that's what I'm personally expecting. And I'm very comfortable taking profits at 970. Even if we go higher, it's fine. You can't always time the exact perfect tippity top, but as long as you get relatively close to it, hey, that's good enough for me. So let's talk about what happens if we break 970 though. If we pass 970, right? So let's go back to the 1 hour. So if we do break, where is my lines? Oh, it's right here. So if we do break 970, let me remove this thing quickly. I do think that that's a sign that we might actually go all the way up to 1,000. So you can see 970 has been, like I said several times before, absolutely phenomenal support several times over here until we had, one fat red candle of Elon selling, essentially bring us down. So naturally, old support becomes new resistance. So which is, I'm extremely confident 970 will be resistance to a certain extent, unless we get like a massive short covering rally, which is, it's possible. But, again, you want to try to like figure out what's the most likely scenario, like that has like the highest odds of happening. You'll never be perfect. You'll never be like, this is 100%, but which is like the highest chance based on everything put it together. And yeah, again, I think 970 is the highest probability of a chance of like touching and rejecting, somewhere around there. So that's essentially what I'm expecting. But again, if we break 970, I wouldn't be surprised to potentially make a rally up to potentially 1,000. Like I said before, this, not this one, sorry. This like little downtrend over here, we're still in. So we went all the way up here. Went all the way up here. And again, overall, I do think this run up is going to essentially just set a lower high. The best case scenario, realistically, would be essentially to touch this line all the way up here that we started 1, 2, and then potentially do it again, probably sometime next week, which essentially would be about 1,000 roughly, give or take. And yeah, and I would expect essentially a solid rejection around that general level, 1,000 to 1,015, like. I'll be very shocked if it's much higher than like something like that, but we'll see, of course. When we get there, we'll see. But I wouldn't be surprised to see about 1,000 sometime, maybe late next week. But again, personally, 970 is what I am looking for myself, and I'm very happy with that. Taking a look at some indicators, you can see the volume profile we already looked at, so we don't care too much about that. The RSI, let's take a quick look at the RSI. You guys know the RSI I personally really like. It's pointing straight up, which is fantastic, which is good. That means that the momentum and the pressure, the buying pressure, if you will, is still very much there, which is really good. So we want to see that it actually crossed over the kind of moving average of the RSI essentially. So overall, like, we're looking bullish. We're looking bullish overall. Even if we get a little bit of a trace back, like I said, to like, what was the level I mentioned earlier? Maybe like 930, maybe like 920. We're still overall in an uptrend for this little short-term movement. But guys, this is a big but. Hopefully you can see it without me even having to, explicitly state it. But in case you don't, we are essentially in a bear flag. This is essentially a bear flag rally. Not good. That's not good. It's very interesting. It's a very good move, but it is a bear flag rally. So you can see on this 1 hour chart, we're very much in it right now. This is essentially a bear flag rally. So it's like a 1 touch point, 2, 3. I think the 970 up here will be the 4, which can happen tomorrow. Wait, what? We're on May 4th, right? Yeah, easily can happen tomorrow. And then we can potentially consolidate a tiny bit to the downside. But again, very decent chance that this is a bear flag rally. So the only way for this bear flag to invalidate would be, probably in all honesty, to break this 970 and make our way well above it. I would say that potentially has a chance of breaking out of it. So we'll see what happens with that. But again, if we cannot break 970, if we get rejected there, this not only validates my belief that this is just going to be too strong of a support or resistance, but it also just validates this bear flag even further, in my opinion. So yeah, that's essentially what I'm seeing, guys. Again, keep in mind, be very careful. Not financial advice. Make your own decisions. If you're someone that's going to scream Tesla to all-time highs, okay, whatever, that's cool. It's your choice. You can do what you want to do with your money. I'm personally looking at this, very cautiously. I'm optimistically cautious, very optimistically. Oh, sorry, very optimistically very cautious. And yeah, so essentially, as long as we don't break above this 970, you know, I strongly believe this bear flag is going to play out, and I think we're going to pretty much plummet even further. And you know, the question is, you know, where are we going to plummet? We're probably going to plummet something like this, right? So usually you want to see, this is, you know how bull flags is, like you have the flag, then you have the bull, like you have the pole, then the bull flag, then you run up. Bear flag is like literally the opposite, right? So essentially we have the pole right here, right? We have this pole here, you know, this is essentially the bear flag right here, you can see. And the way you want to determine roughly how far you can potentially fall from that is essentially once you break out of the pattern. So for instance, assuming this bear flag plays out as a bear flag. So let's say tomorrow, or roughly tomorrow/Friday, you know, we come up here, we touch the top point of this bear flag, which also coincides with this, you know, 970, 975 level. Fantastic. And let's say we get rejected, right? Let's say we get rejected, and then, you know, we continue. Let me extend this a bit higher. And then let's say at some point we break down from it. And let's say we break from it, down from it, like, I don't know, somewhere around this like 950 level, like something, you know, just a rough example here, like something like this. Well, that means that Tesla is most likely going to be falling down probably to like the 780 level at least. So that's like roughly is what I would expect personally, right? So that's roughly how, like, you know, a very simple way to determine how a bear flag or a bull flag will play out. You take the pole and you measure the pole, and then you put that down to where from where you break the pattern, and you essentially just, you know, measure it down like this. It's just a very rough way to determine, you know, just a rough way of where you can potentially go to off of the break of the pattern to the proper side in the bear flag, to the downside, both flags, of course, to the upside. But yeah, that's it for this video, guys. I don't want to make this video too long. Very last quick check on the Bollinger Bands before we end off this video. But that's essentially what I'm seeing, guys. So far, everything's been playing out to an absolute T. I don't know why this stupid thing is just not saving my damn settings every single time. It's kind of annoying, but whatever. Regardless, the Bollinger Band, you can see the center part, the orange line, you can see perfectly lining up with the 970 level now. Like, pretty much, I predicted this like literally like the beginning of the week, if not end of last week. Everything's just lining up exactly as we've been predicting. Like, everything is moving exactly to a T. Everything has been absolute perfection. Pretty much called every move, even the intraday moves I called, and I told you guys exactly what would happen. So hopefully you guys have been banking off of that. Hopefully it's been useful. And I said how we're going to potentially get a little bit of, you know, some, you know, fear factor kind of, you know, coming into this. Some, you know, shaking some hands out, and then we ended up rallying off the FOMC, which is what I expected. Same thing happened the day before that. But yeah, anyways, that's it for this video, guys. Let me know what you think down below, and I'll see you tomorrow. Peace.